Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, so it's time for my midweek pickup. First off, of course, if anybody watches TV, they know what's been going on in America today in this country. This past weekend, we had a bunch of senseless, idiotic violence that happened. There was no reason for it, and it's just crazy because it seems like sometimes in society, especially the day and age that we live in, of course, this was a newsworthy story, of course, but it seems like the only thing that's always focused on is negativity in the media. Now, the people that was targeted was the largest mass shooting in America ever, and they went after I guess, the gay and lesbian community, and that's very unfortunate. What people don't understand is they're putting labels on this horrific killing, but there should not be any labels put on this period. It's just what it is. It's outright senseless violence. Lives were lost. People lost family members. People lost brothers, sisters, boyfriends or girlfriends, whatever the case may be. But in the society that we live in, we are so quick to judge, we forget who is supposed to be the ultimate judger. Or the ultimate judge, excuse my language. And that's just how we run today, and how the country is ran. We look at somebody and we automatically label them as something, and a lot of people think that prejudice and racism is gone in this country, but the truth is that it's just as strong as it's ever been before. Yeah, things are a little bit more lenient because, like I've said before, they put makeup on things to make it look a little bit better. But once that makeup is taken off, it's still the same exact thing. And it's a lot of other things that come into play in this situation, but it's just the the fact that you know the main thing on the news is that it targeted the gay community or whatever, and then come to find out that the dude who did it was involved in the gay community. But of course, they do say, how many people were injured, how many people were shot, but they're just kind of bringing to light the two, I guess you could say, elephants in the room. One, that the guy's Muslim, and one that he targeted the gay community. Now that it's coming out that he was possibly involved in that lifestyle too, it's making the story change a little bit different. They're trying to put a new spin on it. But most of us can see what's happening, and what they're trying to do and say, with the election coming up and everything. But the fact of the matter is that all lives matter. It doesn't matter if you're black, brown, yellow, orange, purple, gay, straight. God created us in his image. It's some things that I don't agree with, but all life is sacred. All life is important. No life is more valuable than the other life because a person lives his lifestyle this way or that way, or if she lives her lifestyle a certain way, that doesn't make her life less valuable just because she's in a certain group. So prayers for all the people in Orlando, prayers for all the victims, prayers for the victims' families, just prayers for everybody in the world, period, because it's getting worse. A lot of people that I know don't watch the news because they think that everything is so negative, and they are right. It's mostly negative stuff portrayed on the news. We don't have anything positive to really look at anymore because it's always about drama and who's doing this or who's getting this done to their bodies and all this other kind of stuff. So we don't really get to see anything positive being shined on the news, or if it is something positive, it's at the end of the newscast or whatever. But, we just need some, I guess, some positive role models or something that's going to kind of steer us back in the right direction that we need to be. Role models that are not assassinated and taken from us when the government knows that they're doing something that's going to make a drastic effect on society. And that's what we need back again. But other than that, this Sunday is Father's Day. So all you fathers out there who are actually fathers, make sure you enjoy your Sunday. My dad is one of the best examples of a father for another father to look at, as far as doing the right thing by his family and his children. My dad, Senior, that's what I call him, Senior. He is the perfect example of what a father is supposed to do to provide for his family. Ever since I was 6 months, and where I could remember, probably my first memory of me and my father was when I was in my crib and he was headed to work. I remember it vividly for some reason, and a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them this story, but I've even told my dad the story before, and he kind of looked at me like, how did you know? But every morning he would come to my crib or whatever. I knew his schedule, so I'd probably be waking up about the time that he would leave or whatever, and he'd come in there, say what he says to me, and leave. And I was 6 months then. He was working for Coca-Cola. I remember this green jumpsuit, red Coca-Cola label. Remember it like yesterday. And ever since then, I've not really ever known my father not to work, which is something that was instilled in him by his grandfather, which comes down the generations and everything, and is instilled in me. I get my worth ethic from my father. A lot of times I wish it was exactly like his, because he's very focused on what he's trying to do, but my dad has always provided for his family. He's always shown us God. He's always made sure that we were aware of God. He always kept us in church. Even though he would be working some Sundays, he would still make sure that we were in church, because that's how he grew up. So he wanted his family to grow up like that as well. And I thank my father for that, because the best way for a son to know how to become a father is if he has that example for him to follow. Now, there are a lot of single mothers out there who have sons and their father may not be around. Don't just think that because someone's father isn't around, there aren't other male influences that can take your son to the next level of becoming a man. A father is not only defined as somebody who has given their DNA to you. A father is someone who is there for a child, who nurtures and feeds this child, helps this child grow, provides, protects for a child. That's the definition of a father. The politically correct, I guess, definition is does compile of the sperm donor concept, but what a lot of people don't understand is sometimes when a father is absent, there is somebody else that can come and teach a son or teach a daughter how to be a man, or a woman how to carry herself like a woman and how to be respected by a man. That doesn't have to be the quote-unquote sperm donor. That can be an uncle who has came in and took on the role. That could be a new guy. You see a lot of guys that may meet somebody, that have just had a baby, and you get a lot of people who, I don't see how you can do that and how you're gonna raise somebody else's child. But it takes a real man and an unselfish person to take upon somebody else's responsibilities as their own. So always think about that, and always celebrate fathers, because it is a tough job. It's harder than a lot of people think, but then at the same time, it's an easy job, because when you're doing the things that you're supposed to do the right way, that's when you see things become, I guess, a little bit easier for you. You start enjoying things more. Things that would have gotten on your nerves or stressed you out before, they don't stress you out as much, because you're in a good space. You're in a good space with your family. You're raising your children right, and things that used to be stressful to you is no longer stressful now, because you can look at them in a different light. So with that being said, I don't want to take up the whole time this week and everything, but again, prayers for the people in Orlando, the state of Florida. Prayers for this country, period, because it is going in a downward spiral, and it's continuing to do that. And remember, again, Sunday is Father's Day. It is Father's Day. It is not, I'm a single mother, so I'm a father too. No, you are a mother. That is a job that you have that is very important as well. But this day is to celebrate the fathers. Even if they are not the actual fathers, but they're taking on the role of a father, make sure that that man knows that he is appreciated. Make sure that all fathers know that they are appreciated and they are loved, and make sure that you tell them every chance that you get, because a lot of dads don't get that that type of, I guess you could say, interaction, because they're either always working, or trying to provide or protect, or just out trying to make sure that they give their family something that they didn't have. So always cherish your father, and be thankful that you have a father that is in your life and that is doing right by you and representing, the right way. With that being said, I will see y'all next week. Hope you have a good Father's Day. Again, God first, family second, everything else will follow. With that being said, I'll see y'all next week.